What is going on, guys? Gannon here, and today we have a very long, unedited discussion video for you guys. I'm not going to be putting up clips or images onto the screen. This is more kind of a podcasty, listen-to type thing. A lot of people are saying they want longer videos in a discussion format, so I'm going to be trying this out. Might be doing this a lot more, so please tell me what you think. We had a lot of fun doing this discussion. If you guys like in-depth, long discussion that you can just listen to in the background while you're doing chores or something, you're actually going to really like this video. And if you really like it, again, please tell me if you want to see more of these, because this is not that difficult for me to make. I could probably put these out pretty fast. And if you guys also would like to put in topics, because we actually had a little trouble figuring out what topic we'd like to talk about today, please tell me if you like this video format, and then please also continue to suggest video topics for not only this kind of video, but also like versus battles, just videos in general, because surprisingly, I mean, I've done a lot of videos off my viewers' suggestions, and I'm going to continue to do that. So no idea is a stupid one, just leave them down below. And with that, guys, let's get into the discussion. I'm doing it with my friend Glam today. Like I said, we had a lot of fun with this, so I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, so the topic right now is going to be future Straw Hat power-up theories. So first, I think we should start on like the main members of the crew before we get to Luffy and them. So
obviously Carrot. Obviously Carrot.
We're not doing Carrot. Carrot is not going to be joining the crew. Fuck Carrot. That's going to be boring as shit if she joins the crew. I think I would like to start off with Robin, most importantly, because Robin has an interesting, huge increase in AoE abilities after the time skip. You know, she's able to create multiple versions of herself. She's able to create large limbs to stomp down her enemies. But one thing I think we would all like to see is all the Straw Hat members utilizing some form of hockey in the series. And I think that if Robin did have armament hockey in combination with the Hana no Mi, that she would just be super powerful. She'd be able to grab Logias from just very distant, you know, distances.
Way to be redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say armament hockey. Well, to be honest, I think all the Straw Hats should bare minimum get both regular kinds. But for Robin, at least, armament hockey is going to help her out immensely because it gives her added DC and strength and also durability whenever she's using her limbs, or even just for herself. And it also makes it so that whenever she uses her wings, it's not like somebody can just shoot her out of the sky if she coats them all in the hockey.
Yeah, that's another problem with the Hana. That's like the only weakness of the Hana no Mi, is that damage that the extra limbs like generate, she takes it as well. So that is one of the dangers, and I think if you were to have a clad in armament hockey, then that would totally get rid of that weakness. And now also people are saying that she should learn finger pistol, you know, so it could be like, you know, how Ivankov generates like a bunch of heads like spinning around and does like the super death wink and just fires a whole
Galaxy Wink?
Yeah, Galaxy Wink. It would be similar to that, just a whole bunch of finger pistols going ahead from just like 500 or 1,000 sprouted hands and just absolutely decimate somebody, which would be absolutely, like, it would be super cool. I'd love to see Robin learn finger pistol, because a lot of the Straw Hats have utilized the 6 powers, and I think that that is going to be a recurring theme. So
yeah, the 6 powers in hockey are really the base ones you can really get there, because so far Luffy and Sanji are the only ones that have displayed powers that are similar to them, from what I can recall, and it's essentially just been Shave and Moonwalk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they both
the higher level like, ones they haven't gotten.
Yeah, they both just have bootleg versions of those abilities. Sanji's is very similar. I don't know if it's the exact same technique, but
I'd say he improved upon it, considering he can use his in water.
Yeah,
and his Skywalk seems to be able to carry him much farther distances than a regular Moonwalk would, if he's like actually kicking.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we do have, I think we should talk about Nami and then Usopp next. So Nami already has a recent power-up in the form of Zeus. But that power-up doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if Big Mom were to ever be defeated, and I don't know why Big Mom just can't recall Zeus. Like, that's weird to me. That Big
I think it's
Mom-
because it's her soul, so it's not really always gonna listen.
No,
considering
like
it's
I
a
just
part
don't
of-
I just don't know why she can't just flick her finger and just like make Zeus.
And he just comes back.
No, just
Yeah.
like she just ceases to exist, and then the life energy returns. That's what I don't understand. I feel like that should be an ability. And if not, then why doesn't she just send another one of her personal homies to seek out Zeus? Because if it's her life energy, shouldn't she be able to locate it generally easy? It doesn't
Yes.
make a lot of sense to me. And then also, if Big Mom ceases to exist, then Zeus will also cease to exist. So this isn't going to be a permanent
one.
permanent boost in power. But I think Nami is going to be one of those characters that I don't really see her having any use for armament hockey. I don't think she's ever going to be physically strong in that sense to the point where she's going to, like, duke anybody out.
In my opinion, it would be useful just on her end for defense, but that would be it alone.
I just don't see just innocent little slender Nami ever getting armament hockey. I think observation hockey, if she were to get a hockey type, would be that, but I just don't see it as a necessity, because that's not really Nami's role. And then it seems like we're really heavy pent up on the weather effects. You know, that's going to be Nami's main ability, and I can't really see anything. I mean, Zeus is the latest power-up, but I can't really envision anything that's going to be better than that. Like,
Just basic climate attack upgrades, really.
Yeah.
Just giving her more control, giving her a bigger area of effect, more damage, that kind of shit, really. There's not really much else to give her.
I will say one thing is that if I've always wanted there to be at least one type of each fruit on the Straw Hat crew. I've long been, like, wanting a Logia type on the crew. And I think if there's any person who down the road would eat a fruit and become a Logia, it'd probably be Nami. She's like the most vulnerable one in my opinion. She's the one who can't really protect herself as good as the other guys. I think having a Logia fruit, just that added layer of protection, would be interesting to see. And I'm also a very big fan of, it's kind of old now and it's really unrealistic that this would happen, but people were theorizing that Monet's fruit would end up on one of the tangerine trees.
Yeah.
And then Nami would eat that. I was a big fan of that theory at the time because I thought the snow fruit would be perfect for Nami. But, so that's the only conceivable power-up I could see for Nami, is maybe getting a Logia fruit down the line that's kind of simplistic and not too overpowered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, I don't necessarily think the Straw Hats need any more Devil Fruit users. But I think that's the only part where me and you disagree on, say, Nami, because I think where you want the Logia to cover her bases in terms of, like, defense, I think Armament Hockey could serve that for her. But then again, difference in opinion.
Yeah, difference in opinion. We got it. And then Usopp, of course, I am very interested to see end of series what a high-level sniper can do. Because Yasopp...
His father must be fucking insane, dude.
Yasopp must be fucking ludicrous, dude. I'm just so interested for Usopp to get to that level. Because I think Usopp totally has the capability. He has that natural talent for marksmanship. He's starting to unlock his observation hockey near the end of Dressrosa, which is super exciting. I want to see that come into play again. I am just very excited to see where Usopp can go. Because Usopp has been confirmed to be the weakest member of the crew, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oda said he always wants him to be the weakest at all times.
Always?
Yep.
Because, I mean, here's the thing, like, I could see...
With the Zeus power-up, I think it's been made clear that Nami would probably destroy him. But
Yeah, I'm just thinking end of series, like, that's gotta change, right? Is Usopp always gonna be a bitch?
maybe. I don't think he's going to be a bitch in personality, but
I mean,
like eventually, if Elbaf is a thing, I think he will have a huge personality turn, and then he will learn how to be a great warrior of the sea as he wishes.
Here's the thing, Yasopp is badass, dude. Like, when he rolled up in Marineford with the dreads, I was like, this dude could really fuck some people up. Like, when I look at the hierarchy of the crew, I go Shanks, Ben Beckman, Yasopp, then Lucky Roo.
Lucky Roo.
Yeah. So if you're the third strongest member in a lot of people's eyes on arguably the strongest, like, Yonko crew, because a lot of people think that Shanks not only is the strongest Yonko, just the strongest character in the verse right now.
I think the Red Hair Pirates are overall the strongest pirate crew in the world right now.
Yeah.
I think the Whitebeard Pirates previously held that title, but now
yeah, because here's the thing, we have small... It seems like the theme is small central crews with a lot of talent. Whereas, like, you have the Blackbeard pirates, and you have a lot of commanders in there, but not a lot of them. Like, Jesus Burgess hasn't really been shown to be that dope. He's got some really powerful flash attacks.
It's basic quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a recurring theme in the Straw Hat crew. We see that in obviously the red-haired pirate crew. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna be consistent. Like, Oda wants Usopp to be the weakest at all time, but I mean, Usopp has gotta just be stronger than Nami at some point. I think Usopp's end of series, maybe we're going to get a flash forward maybe 5 years after Luffy becomes the Pirate King and the world is reformed, and they're all gonna look super badass, and that's only gonna be a couple chapters long, and then Oda's just gonna end the series. So maybe in the main story, Usopp is always gonna remain as the Usopp we all know and love, but I really would like to see him be like a threat to high-level characters at some point.
The easy way to give him power-up is if you give him slingshot ammo that's C-prism laced, or if you give him armament hockey that he can infuse into that ammunition.
Yeah,
that's like the easy mode power-up for him right there.
And also, he needs to drop that fucking slingshot shit soon. That is so corny. Like,
I feel like he's gonna make it work.
I feel like he's got to make a really badass slingshot, or it's got to be badass in some way. But I can't live with. I mean, I love Usopp's personality, but I really would like to see him just
use a gun.
No, not even use a gun. Just seem badass at some point. I just want one Usopp badass moment, and that's all really I'm asking for.
Well, ever since Sniper King sadly died, we have not seen anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there's a potential for him to get different kinds of pop greens later on that are just hugely destructive? Because so far his strongest one is Impact Wolf.
I don't know. I would like him to ditch the niche, corny ammo type as well. Like, I think the fact that he uses a whole bunch of plants to attack his enemies isn't really scary or anything. It's a little bit corny to me. I'd like him to just be a badass hockey user, because I assume Yasopp has the basic ability of coating his bullets in hockey. Like, I mean, that isn't a basic ability. That seems like a very high level, very skilled ability, because if it was very basic, we definitely would have seen it by now. I think that's going to be Yasopp's main ability.
I think the Kuja Pirates are just an anomaly in that regard. Like, that's something they focus on.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. There's also a huge difference between keeping hockey in an arrow and then keeping it in a fucking bullet. So, yeah. Since
you're not physically touching the bullet when you're
I think not only armament, but I think you might need to have extreme levels of observation to maintain, like, having hockey in a bullet at the velocity that it goes. That's my theory. Next up, I'd like to talk about Chopper. Now, Chopper, I don't really see him getting that many power-ups, honestly. Maybe just a new form.
Mastering Monster Point.
Mastering Monster Point, and you know I'm a firm believer that Monster Point is his awakening. I think it's super consistent with other Zone awakenings that we've seen. I see no reason for it not to be the awakening. So Chopper is going to be powerful in the sense that he is going to be one of the few, probably, maybe even the only Zone user in the whole verse.
Physical fighter.
Yeah. Who can only, like, just has full, complete control over his Awakened Zone, because we've seen other Awakened Zone users, and they seem like they're complete brain-dead monsters. Chopper,
it's just really, they've gotten boosts in strength, endurance, all this other shit, but they don't retain their...
Yeah, they don't retain their human personality, but whereas Chopper can totally do that. I think that he's already kind of achieved that to a degree, but Chopper's going to have full mastery over that ability. He won't need any Rumble Balls. He's just gonna be fully cognitive, and it's gonna be really strong. And then not only that, if Chopper also masters hockey, then that's going to be GG. Like, come on.
My tinfoil hat for Chopper is that he will use the Rumble Balls, but only for one other form, and that form would be one that makes him the Straw Hat that fights San Juan Wolf when the Straw Hat Pirates fight the Blackbeard Pirates. And that's a possible giant point that makes him just fucking huge.
That would be kind of insane.
Just a straight up kaiju battle in the background of the Straw Hats.
I don't think that's gonna happen at all, but I'd like to see that a lot. That'd be really interesting.
If it's not him, then it's gonna be Frankie upgrading the Shogun some way.
Okay, Brook. Brook has already got some really interesting power-ups. For example, he's able to manifest soul energy into, like, a skull ghost. And he's done that once in the manga, and I think he's done that a couple times in the anime now. Which is interesting. I don't really know the degree to which that could harm enemies yet. I know it could harm people who run on souls like Big Mom's, whatever, the homies. Yeah, the homies. I don't know. I would love to see that actually manifest and harm things in the physical plane. Like,
we've seen it affect people mentally, but that's it.
So Brook has always had some kind of bullshit abilities. Like, he has the ability to affect people with his music. He has the ability to basically just blink because he's just super fast.
And he's essentially using shave better than any other Straw Hat, really.
And he doesn't it doesn't even use shave. You don't hear the shave sound effect. It's just he's just weightless. It seems like he just can go wherever the hell he wants.
Teleports. He just teleports.
And then also he has Soul Solid, which I would just really love for that to get like way more
Armament Hockey.
Like Armament Hockey, plus like maybe even stronger ice ability. Just the Chilling Soul Killer. You know, Brook is going to be the Chilling Soul Assassin. Brook is already really a great character. That's like one of the things that made me most happy about Thriller Park is the introduction of Brook. Brook is such a great...
Whole Cake Island was a very good arc for him too.
Yeah, he really is putting some skin in the game. I think Brook is just doing everything.
Which is funny because he doesn't have skin.
Yes, absolutely. I think Brook is putting a lot of skin in the game. I think
I was also going to say that flying sword attacks would suit him very well. He needs some range on him.
Sorry, what?
I was also going to say, like, if he got some flying sword attacks, like, I think some range with his sword would be very useful for him.
Yeah. I think Brook he's yet to surpass pre-time skip Zoro in swordsmanship. I think once he gets there and gets Armament Hockey, he's going to be a perfect addition to the crew. I think that's going to be Brook's power-up. And then also I'd love to see some more shitty, quirky abilities. Not shitty, I meant, but just, like, bullshit. Quirky abilities from his life fruit. What is it, like the life fruit?
Revive
Oh,
fruit.
the revive fruit. I would love to see more quirky abilities to that, because I feel like that fruit is bullshit. It's got a lot of layers to it, especially in Brook's case. Because he's actually a very rare case. I feel like if the revive fruit worked how it was intended to, I feel like it wouldn't get all these extra abilities like Brook has. Because
he's a soulful person.
Yeah, he's the Soul King. Who else do we have left? Do we just have Frankie and then Jinbei?
We have Frankie. Yeah, and then Jinbei would be included with the other four, but yeah.
Okay, so Frankie obviously just technological upgrades. Armament Hockey. Yeah, Armament Hockey in addition with his very powerful, like he's able to do his strong right, would be very awesome. I think that's all I could think about. I don't really want to go into huge detail with Frankie because he's just going to add more lasers, Armament Hockey. I think. Yeah,
other than potential upgrades for General Frankie, I can't really think of anything else he'd really need because he's upgraded himself to a point where like his strongest attack pre-time skip is now a base one that he can use with his arm.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
A regular arm.
And then General Frankie definitely can use some upgrades because it's kind of silly and unorthodox how he needs to open up the hatch to shoot his cannon. I think he's going to implement that into General Frankie into a much larger scale that could just like decimate more than half of it.
Essentially, in between power levels to the Glam cannon and the Radical Beam, just like something in the middle.
Yeah. And then Jinbei, I don't really think. I think Jinbei can just get.
He's got a lot right now. Like,
yeah, that's what that was what I was about to get to. Is that Jinbei is just going to have to just go forward in physical strength a little bit more, and maybe he just has some full-out awesome water ability that we haven't seen. Because I think Jinbei is a very mature pirate. I think he's more than very close to his maximum power capacity. Just
you know me with Jinbei. I think he's got a hell of a lot more to show.
Listen, here's the thing. I think he's got a hell of a lot more to show. But I just think he already knows that. Like, there's not much.
He doesn't have any room to grow.
Yeah.
That's
so. I think Jinbei is going to have to go all out and grow to the point where he can mid to high diff characters like Jack. Do you know? I think he has to surpass Jack, and then I will be very comfortable with Jinbei's character. And for people wondering why I picked Jack specifically, it is my I'm very set on Jinbei fighting Jack because Jinbei seems like he is the strongest fishman in the verse, but the only person who's potentially in his way at the moment is Jack. Jack is definitely either half fishman or a fishman. So I think when Jinbei has to fight and defeat Jack, that he's going to surpass him to become the strongest fishman in the whole series. So that's what I think.
Admiral level Jinbei for me is like a pipe dream that I want so bad, just because I love Jinbei as a character. He's my second favorite character in the whole story. But...
Dude, I think that when Jinbei surpasses Jack, he will be like weakest Admiral level.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
That'd be so dope. I mean, he's basically got everything. Like, he's got armament hockey, he's got the observation, I would assume.
Yeah. He is a very mature pirate. There's not a lot of room to grow, but that growth that is there, I think it's going to make him, like, low-tier Admiral level. So,
I mean, if the man can pre-time skip fight for 5 days on end against a Logia that's, like, kind of his counter in certain aspects, like, it's fucking incredible. Like, how strong he is.
So then that I'm pretty sure we got all the members of the crew besides the main monster trio, right?
The monster trio, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's start off with Sanji, because Sanji's one of the biggest disappointments in my life. I'm a very disappointed dad.
Wanji. All day, every day, boys.
Dude, Sanji he's the only thing that really impresses me at the moment is his speed. I don't think that Sanji really has the fighting or destructive capabilities to hurt.
Let me break down his destructive capabilities right here real quick. The dude in Whole Cake was lifting a building-sized cake casually with single kicks. He was casually blocking multi-level or multi-ship level attacks from Daifuku's genie, which was casual for him.
Yeah, but Daifuku's genie overpowered him after, like...
In the wedding, not on when he was on the ship. He was casually blocking the genie's attacks. So I think Sanji still has a lot of room to show. I think he has more to prove right now than Zoro, but I think he still has a lot more left to show, and I think he just hasn't really had a good showing in the New World, because Zoro comparatively has been coasting, but he's been fighting like mid-tier level fighters at best, when Sanji's actually been up against people that are competent and losing.
Here's the thing, like, that mid-tier at best except for Pika. Like, people put Pika at mid-tier because of how easily Zoro defeated him. Pika's ability at that point in time in its environment was not mid-tier. That, like, you put many other high-level characters in that situation, they might have not been able to deal with it. It's just Zoro's kit, basically. Made it very seemingly easy to defeat Pika, and also Zoro's an absolute dog. I would not put the Pika fight on mid-tier. I think a lot of people forget that because of how easy it seemed. But you put a lot of different characters in that situation, it's going to be a different story. And so, for me, Sanji tried to incapacitate Luffy. Luffy was literally standing there for like a good 5 minutes. I just started to say Zoro and Longi. Sanji started unloading his most powerful attacks in his kit that we know of, right? Onto Luffy, probably using Haki. And he was definitely trying to incapacitate Luffy. And after going all out, he's breaking a big sweat, like going like almost 100% on just Luffy's face. Luffy just got back up after 15 seconds. Like, he was out. To
me, I don't think that takes away stuff from Sanji. I think Luffy is just so far ahead of him and Zoro at the moment.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He can't be like that. It's just not acceptable for him. I think he's getting booted out of the monster trio by Jinbei, like, at this point. Like, that's not acceptable. So Sanji's got to get better. And there's not many distinctive power-ups that I could give to Sanji. One thing I will say about Sanji is that his observation haki, his base observation haki... Incredible. Like, people always come to me and they're like, well, you know, Luffy has future sight now. Doesn't that make him, like, a better observation haki user than Sanji? Hell fucking no, dude.
Luffy doesn't have future sight yet.
Like, no, he has minor future sight, but I'm just saying, just because Sanji hasn't mastered future sight doesn't mean that his base observation haki isn't way better. Like,
he was dodging Katakuri easily.
Dude, we have clear evidence of this. Like, Katakuri is known for his observation haki, yet Sanji won in a observation haki duel against him when he was trying to throw the jelly beam.
Katakuri was fucking blown away.
Yeah,
he was like, holy
what
shit.
The fuck? Like, I will give that to Sanji, dude. That was badass. That was definitely badass. Like, I really enjoyed that.
In terms of power-ups, more 6-power shit would help him immensely, I feel like. If he can do what Jabra did back in Enies Lobby with Iron Body, to like a greater degree, considering how like fast he is, like his physical strength could go through the fucking roof. Especially if you throw the raid suit on. Even though I personally think that's not going to be a permanent power-up, but...
No, Sanji, that's not his style. Well, I'll give one thing to Sanji. He's been consistent to his morals the whole time, you know?
Yep.
Like, that Sanji has a particular style, which means I'm on the verge of him using Tech Eye, because Tech Eye's always been kind of like a little bit of a bitch ability. But I think it would be interesting if he not only coated his legs in hockey, but the Iron Body ability, then combine that with his speed, he'd probably be able to fucking break boulders like they were made out of snow.
Yeah, and there's also Tempest Kick as well.
Yeah,
like that one's...
and so if you learn more of the powers, because it seems like that's not out of the question since he learned Skywalk. If he could create his own renditions of the 6 powers and just improve them like he did Moonwalk, then yeah, Sanji could be very powerful. It's just that he's got the speed, he's got the observation hockey, we just need the power to go with it. That's where I stand with Sanji.
I think that if he could combine Diablo Jambe with Rankyaku and have some ranged fire attacks, like Sanji is going, I think, end of series is going to be very, very powerful, but like bare minimum Admiral level, I would say. But
yeah, I think the Monster Trio has to be all Admiral level, like
bare minimum.
Yeah, bare minimum for him to be Pirate King level. And now let's move on to Zoro because I'm really excited to talk about this. Zoro. Come on, guys. Like, I already fucking think Zoro's an absolute animal. He has had no trouble with any ability. With any enemy.
The only thing we haven't seen from him is Ashura post time skip.
You know, it's here. I have a great theory. I have a great theory for that. You ready, Glam?
Okay, go ahead.
We, to my knowledge, and this might be a dumb statement, because I don't know if this is actually true. I didn't research this before the video, but I'm, like, 80% sure, to my knowledge, he has not used any form of his demon eyes, like, post-time skip.
He has not.
But he used to do that all the time when he went serious pre-time skip.
When he
opens up his eye. I think his eye now is like a permanent demon eye. And now you think that's corny, right?
It's fucking gay.
No, listen. It's not that gay. Just think of it. That eye doesn't work anymore. It's probably like slashed. But what if it's like a permanent demon eye? So like when Zoro opens it, it's like all white. And, like, you know, like, doesn't even have a pupil, because it's, like, a blind person's eye or whatever. I don't know if that's, like, correct. Blind. Never mind. It's gonna be, like, full milky white, but then Demon Eye appears whenever he opens it, and then he's going to start using his Demon King level attacks. Like Ashura, he might even have some new ones. Demon mode, basically. It's gonna be like a Zoro Gear Second. It's going to be
it's funny because
monstrous. Because that's Zoro's theme. He's like a demon. It's so badass.
He actually has had a few demon aura-ish attacks before, like when he fought T-Bone and he used Demon Bull.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And then there was when he used I forget what the name of the exact attack was, but it was this version of Onigiri he used in Eni's Lobby, where his sword started bending, or sort of like distorting in reality. And the Marines could see this happening. It was similar to like Ashura. It was kind of like a precursor to him using that, where you can see his spirit sort of manifesting on like the physical plane, as it were. Like his demon abilities could be tied. I've heard people theorize that they could be tied to the curse that the Katetsu has, and that's how he was able to receive them. And if he receives the Nidai Katetsu alongside the Sandai, or as I think is possible, he could reforge the two blades into one, so that way he can keep Shusui and Wadoi Chimonji. His demon abilities could like potentially skyrocket. Like, it's insane how much room of growth Zoro has.
I think you just gave me so many ideas, and I think I'm going to make a whole theory video on this later. Basically, what I think is that Zoro has. I'm gonna say this base. Like, this is gonna be our base conclusion for Zoro. I'd like this video to be about 30 minutes long, so we're just gonna move on to Sanji after I make this statement. To Luffy after I make this statement. Zoro is going to soon be able to turn on and off an ability set that he's perfected around his demon aura. Because that seems like a unique ability to him, where he's able to manifest demon aura so that other people can see it and have a moveset around that. He hasn't had a distinct moveset around that. But I
will say one thing that Zoro does need to improve on is speed. That is the one skill set he is lacking in, and I think he needs to improve on.
Zoro needs to learn Soru level speed ability.
He needs to take some lessons from Sanji in speed real quick.
Yeah.
And then he'll be fine.
Soru at the minimum. And then also, I feel like if Zoro doesn't already have this under his sleeve, Zoro's going to have a whole on and off switch ability set surrounding those demon abilities. But that's all I'm going to say about Zoro, because I'm actually just decided that I'm going to do a whole theory video on that tomorrow. Just because I'm so excited. Because I don't know. When I get into these discussion videos... Thank me later. Yeah, when I get into these discussion videos and I really start thinking about One Piece again, it's really hard to think about these when you're not in the realm of discussion, really thinking hard. But I've just got
It's hard to not go off on tangents.
Yeah, I've just gotten so many good ideas. Anyways, let's get to Luffy. I want to hear what you think about first before I say what I think is going to happen.
Okay, bare minimum. Well, I'm going to say this about Luffy's stats right now. Gear 4 is a very, very impressive form. Just Bounce Man alone. You don't even factor Snake Man and its really good attack speed, or potentially what base form Tank Man could be. Just focus on Bounce Man real quick. His physical strength, one could argue, is comparable to an Admiral in physical strength, especially with King Kong and put into the mix. And King Kong, from what we've seen, is bare minimum a city-level attack. His physical strength and Bounce Man is insane. So the only problem with it is that his stamina pool is so heavily drained with it that it's just... He can't fight high tiers, like, say, the Admirals, with it for only 30 minutes. Like, he'll get destroyed if he's out of Gear 4. So, bare minimum, he needs to master that. Get the time limit up to, like, having maybe days on end, maybe even no timer at all. And then the other thing, another power-up he could potentially get is Awakening. And I think that's been heavily hinted at throughout the entire series, especially since the last two major adversaries he's fought have both been awakened. Luffy getting potentially what a lot of people think could be either Rubber World, if all Paramecia awakenings function the same, if they just affect the surroundings around them. Turn the surrounding area into rubber. I know Gannon's favorite theory with Luffy is the bounce house.
Dude, that's what I was about to get to.
But it's very, like, giving him more elasticity and a better environment to control his rubber, especially in Gear 4, which is already based around his elastic force and just movement. Gear 4's movement is just incredible. His speed is greater than Gear 2 from what we've seen. So having an area that's really suited to him really helps him out, especially if he's trying to keep an opponent locked down in a certain area. Other than that, there's also the idea of vulcanization, which would essentially remove a lot of his rubber abilities, but increase his physical stats a fuck ton. And I would say if that is going to be a power-up that he gets, it would be Gear 5 in which he gets that, but I don't really think he's going to need Gear 5 by the end of the series, but it's possible he could get that. But that's all I have for him.
Alright. So basically, it's a given. Luffy is going to find mastery within all three types of hockey. Armament...
Oh yeah, Future Sight. Future Sight, duh.
Yeah. So he's already got the next tier of observation hockey, so we have no reason to not believe he's going to master all three. Second of all, I'm a huge, like Glam already says, I'm a huge admirer of the bounce house theory, the theory that Luffy is going to be able to turn everything in his surroundings into rubber, and then he's going to have a bounce house, basically, in which he is king, and he'll be able to wrestle down like very high tier characters.
It's essentially his version of Waw's room. Like he is God in this space.
It's like he has full mobility in this space, whereas his enemies just don't know what the fuck to do because they're not used to walking around rubber. Luffy has full mastery at this point in the series of elasticity and the understanding and how to maneuver it. So that's going to be a huge advantage to him. He's had this fruit for most of his whole life. So, and then also he's going to be able to control everything. So he's going to be able to make like giant fists or maybe just giant blobs similar to the mochi that Katakuri has created, come from the walls.
Take some inspiration from his older brother right there.
And just fucking hammer just high-level characters. And then the last thing I believe, if there is going to be one more gear at like the very, 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 very end of the series, just like one more god tier gear that makes Luffy an absolute...
Yeah, it's either going to be vulcanization, in my opinion, or it's going to be something that affects his nervous system.
Yeah,
the only part of his body.
We have a lot of silly looking transformations for Gear 4. Gear 4 does look a little bit silly, but I feel like Gear 5 is going to look like, you know how Snake Man's like very kind of the serious form, it's badass.
Mm-hmm. It's essentially going to be his like Super Saiyan form where he just looks fucking incredible.
Yeah, but
we still haven't seen base Tank Man, and there's also the idea that his Conqueror's Haki could become Shanks level, where it's actually like affecting the environment around him just with his presence and using his Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
And then, of course, getting Armin Haki onto what Katakuri can use with the Block Mochi, which was superior to Gear 4 with Armin Haki. But other than that, like,
Luffy's got a hell of a lot of growth, and it's going to be great to see how he progresses in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also one of those believers that I feel like Luffy does have to be if not the strongest, just like one of the strongest characters in the series. Like, he's gonna have to surpass people like Kaido in order to become Pirate King. I don't believe that there's gonna be a cop-out where Luffy just like gets a whole bunch of help from people and that.
If Blackbeard gets a third fruit, he's gonna have to be.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. But anyways, I think this has been going on long enough. We're about 33 minutes in right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks to Glam for being in it, and I will see you guys in the next one.